Rome, 38 AD. The heavy silk tears with a sound like dry parchment snapping. Inside the Imperial Palace on the Palatine hill, the terror begins not with a shout, but with sudden, suffocating silence. What Caligula did to the virgins, summoned to his private quarters, was a horror beyond death. A systematic dismantling of Rome's most sacred boundaries. A heavy golden fibula falls to the mosaic floor, spinning to a halt near a sandal strap. It is the motif of the night. Gold discarded, value inverted. The emperor watches, his eyes glassy and unblinking. He does not seek mere pleasure. He seeks to sever the connection between these daughters and their ancestors. By dawn, their identities will be dissolved, their family names rendered unspeakable in the Forum. The doors are barred from the outside, turning the sanctuary of the Caesars into a tomb for the living. The irreversible cost is not flesh, but memory itself. The locks turn, sealing the only exit back to sanity. If you enjoy these dark histories, leave a like and subscribe and comment below where you're listening from. And now, back to the story. The procession moves deeper into the bowels of the Domus Tiberiana, leaving the familiar sounds of Rome far behind. The air cools rapidly, smelling of stale incense, damp limestone, and the faint, coppery tang of old lamps. The marble busts of Augustus and Livia watch from shadowed alcoves, their stone eyes blind to the desecration passing beneath them. The virgins are not dragged, they are guided with terrifying politeness by mute attendants clad in imperial purple. This is the first layer of the trap, the pretense of civility that makes the coming violation absolute. They are led not to a bedchamber, but to an antechamber that resembles a vault. The corridor narrows, forcing the group into a single file line. The attendants stop. A new rule is enforced: absolute silence. They demand the removal of all jewelry. Pearls, gold armbands, and family signets, the tangible links to the outside world, are dropped into a bronze bowl held by a slave. The clatter echoes like a gavel strike against the stone walls. Without their tokens of lineage, the women look identical in the flickering torchlight, stripped of the rank that has protected them since birth. A scribe sits at a small table, scratching into a wax tablet with an iron stylus. He does not ask their names. He verifies them against a list provided by the Praetorian Guard. He marks the tablet with a precise, bureaucratic indifference. This is not a party. It is an acquisition of state assets. No record leaves this room without blood on it. They are ushered into a circular chamber painted with scenes of divine punishment, titans crushed by lightning, mortals flayed for hubris. The ceiling is low, pressing down on them. Here, the mercy is whispered by a Greek freedman standing in the shadows. He offers a silver cup of wine and a quiet way out. Simply acknowledge that Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus is a living god, superior to Jupiter, best and greatest. Confess that their fathers are mere mortals, unworthy of loyalty compared to the divinity standing in the next room. It is a simple trade, blasphemy for safety. One girl, a daughter of the ancient Cornelii line, stops. She does not take the cup. Her hand hovers over the silver rim, trembling, then retreats to her side. It is a small gesture, invisible to history, but monumental in this room. To drink is to survive the night, but kill the soul of her house. To refuse is to invite the madness of the emperor. The silence stretches, heavy and thick, measured only by the dripping of a water clock in the corner. The freedman smiles, but it does not reach his eyes. He notes her refusal on a separate darker scroll. The air in the room shifts from anxious waiting to the static charge of an approaching storm. The heavy oak doors to the inner sanctum groan open, revealing a space bathed in blinding artificial light. Heat rushes out, carrying the scent of heavy perfume and sweat. The choice has been removed. The time for negotiation is over. They are no longer guests or even prisoners. They are subjects in a theological experiment designed to break the Roman spirit. The threshold crossed is the end of the known world. The doors lock with a mechanical finality that vibrates through the floorboards. Inside, the room is stiflingly hot, heated by braziers burning scented wood that clogs the throat. Caligula sits not on a curule chair, but on a raised dais, draped in the translucent silks of a foreign goddess, his face painted with white lead and vermilion. The condition is laid bare immediately. There is no sexual frenzy here, only a cold, theatrical demand for theological submission. He does not want their bodies yet. He wants their souls. He demands they kneel and recite the prayers usually reserved for Jupiter Capitolinus, but addressed solely to him. To comply is to shatter the religious bedrock of Rome. To refuse is treason. The air in the room grows heavy, breathless. The noble women stand rigid, their eyes fixed on the hem of his robe to avoid the madness in his gaze. He circles them, whispering secrets about their fathers, accusations of cowardice, theft, and impotence. This reveals the core why of the nightmare. This is not simple depravity, but a calculated political dismantling. By breaking the daughters, Caligula is publicly neutering the Senate. He is proving that the most powerful men in the empire cannot protect their own blood from his whim. The price has been set. Their social death is the currency he uses to buy his own divinity. Every minute they remain in this room, rumor spreads outside, and their value as pristine symbols of Roman virtue evaporates. Suddenly, the emperor stops pacing. The rhythm of the room snaps. He approaches the girl from the Cornelii family, the one who refused the wine. He holds out a golden wreath, the symbol of a priestess, but commands her to wear it as a collar. It is a test of absolute obedience. She stares at the gold loop, the metal gleaming under the harsh lamp oil. The hesitation is agonizing. Her hand rises, fingers twitching, fighting the instinct to obey the Caesar. Then, she drops her hand to her side, locking her muscles. She delivers the refusal in a voice stripped of all emotion, quiet enough to force him to lean in. "I have no knees for a man." The silence that follows is louder than a scream. The defiance does not bring immediate execution, it brings something worse. Caligula laughs, a high, brittle sound. He signals to the guards. The rules change instantly. The physical threat is withdrawn, replaced by psychological isolation. The other women are forced to back away, leaving her stranded in the center of the mosaic floor. The mercy is revoked. He declares that since she will not be his priestess, she will be his statue. She is forbidden to move, to speak, or to look away from him. A god demands a witness, even a hateful one. Time dissolves. Hours pass in the suffocating heat. The sensory deprivation begins to erode their grip on reality. The smell of burning wax turns acrid. The shadows on the walls seem to detach and move on their own. The soft pressure of the initial demand hardens into a test of physical endurance. But here, the inversion takes hold. The silence intended to break the Cornelian daughter becomes her armor. By forcing her into stillness, he has given her a way to detach. She becomes stone, withdrawing her mind into the discipline of her ancestors, finding a sanctuary within the trap that he cannot touch. She is no longer a victim. She is a monument to the republic he is trying to kill. The torture is not what happens to the body, but what happens to the name. The emperor grows bored with her resilience. He cannot break the stone, so he decides to defile the quarry. He orders the scribes to record a lie, that she begged for his touch. The quill scratches aggressively across the parchment, fabricating a confession of lust that will be read in the Senate House. The truth of her resistance is erased in real time, replaced by a fabricated scandal. The price is paid in full. She has survived the man, but she will not survive the story he tells. Survival is the punishment for those who endure too long. The sun rises over the Palatine, gray and joyless, filtering through the high windows of the palace. The heavy doors unbar, not to release the women with dignity, but to expel them, like the refuse of the night's festivities. They walk out into the chill morning mist, their expensive silks rumpled, their faces masks of alabaster white. They do not weep. They move with the stiff, unnatural gait of those who have seen the machinery of the underworld and returned. The palace slaves enter immediately to scrub the floors, to wash away the scent of fear, sweat, and spilled wine, ensuring the emperor's stage is reset for the next performance. Among the scattered debris, crushed garlands, broken goblets, and the stylus used to write the lies, lies the golden fibula from the Cornelii daughter, abandoned on the mosaic tiles in Act 1. A hand reaches down. It is not a guard, but a mute servant, invisible in the hierarchy of the court. He picks up the gold clasp. It is cold, heavy, and tainted. He does not steal it. He recognizes the crest stamped into the soft metal. In a silent rite of memory, he wipes the metal on his tunic, wrapping it in a scrap of rough wool. This object, intended by Caligula to be a symbol of discarded virtue, is smuggled out of the palace gates, passing under the noses of the Praetorian Guard, who are too busy counting their bribes to notice a slave carrying a piece of a shattered lineage. The ground is the only witness that does not lie. The artifact travels down the winding paths to the Forum, back to the silent atrium of the Cornelii house. There are no speeches made upon its return. The father does not ask what happened in the room of divine punishment. The emptiness in his daughter's eyes is the answer enough. He takes the fibula, and instead of restoring it to her wardrobe or selling it, he buries it beneath the family altar in the atrium floor. He seals the stone. The earth swallows the evidence of the night, hiding the gold where the emperor's ledger cannot reach it. Centuries later, excavators digging beneath the foundations of the Palatine complex brush away the dirt of 2 millennia. They find not just the grand marble halls of the Caesars, but the cramped, suffocating service corridors where the true history of Rome was whispered. Records suggest that in these layers of debris, personal items are often found: hairpins, dice, and jewelry, hidden in votive caches, protected from the fires of Nero and the sacks of the Goths. Here lies the contradiction to the assumption of total erasure in Act 1. We believed Caligula succeeded in stripping these women of their agency, turning them into passive footnotes of his madness. But the buried fibula tells a different story. When cleaned of its corrosion and inspected under museum lights, the underside of the gold reveals a scratch, jagged and hasty, likely made with a sharp stone or a hidden pin during those hours of enforced stillness. It is not a plea for help. It is a curse. The markings invoke the dire, the Furies. The victim had not been paralyzed by fear. She had been silently chanting the ritual of debauchery, pledging the emperor's life to the infernal gods in exchange for her silence. The stillness was not submission. It was the channeling of a lethal spiritual weapon. Caligula believed he was breaking a girl. In reality, he was being marked for death by a living sacrifice standing 3 feet away. The history books recorded his lie, but the earth kept her promise. A curse does not need a voice to be heard. The ledger is closed, but the ink is never applied. In the official archives of the Senate, the days following the incident are marked by mundane decrees: grain shipments, tax adjustments, the appointment of minor magistrates. There is a horrifying hole in the timeline where the honor of Rome's oldest families should be. The wax tablets used by the scribe in the antechamber are held over a flame. The heat softens the surface, the names of the Cornelii and the others dissolving into a smooth, black void. The evidence of their presence is not destroyed. It is simply smoothed over, made ready for the next set of names. In the Forum, the fathers of the victims walk with their heads high, their togas bright white, engaging in the theater of politics as if their bloodlines had not been severed the night before. This is the true erasure. To speak of the violation is to make it real, so the city conspires to forget. The witnesses, the mute attendants, the guards, the slaves, become the carriers of a toxic secret. They do not speak, but they look at the palace with a new, feral caution. The story survives only in the dark, whispered in the back rooms of taverns, turning specific women into nameless cautionary tales. High on the Palatine, the room is locked. Dust settles on the mosaic floor where the fibula once spun to a halt. The heavy silk that tore with the sound of parchment has been replaced, the tear mended with invisible stitches, the golden thread catching the light as if the violence never occurred. The silence that arrived with a gasp in Act 1 has metastasized. It is no longer the silence of shock, but the silence of complicity. The palace resets itself with mechanical indifference, swallowing the trauma to maintain the illusion of order. When Caligula inevitably falls 4 years later, stabbed to death in a tunnel by his own guards, the stroke of the gladius is a delayed echo of the curse scratched into the gold. But justice arrives too late to save the memory of the living. The women remain in the shadows of history, their resistance unrecorded, their trauma surviving only as a cold draft in the ruins of the Domus Tiberiana. We walk these ruins today, admiring the masonry, unaware that we are standing on a crime scene that was never cleared. Subscribe, hit the bell, and like. Some ruins remain standing only because the earth refuses to swallow them.